and the foliage are turning brown. This is signifying that indeed autumn is here, which also means it's mushroom season. So we are going out to our local forest. We are going into an old area where there's lots of old oak trees and silver birch trees, and we are looking for mushrooms. And what we're going to do is create some glowing mushroom shots. These are composited shots using numerous different shots. We're going to be focus stacking and compositing to get these shots. Right, so we've found a half decent composition here of mushrooms. So I'm going to take you through exactly how I get these shots of the glowing mushrooms. So there's several key features I want to talk about. First of all is the tripod, camera, and then the lighting. So we're going to start with the tripod. We have this composition down here. Easiest and basic way to get a shot is basically get your camera, stick it down. Now the reason I'm putting it down upside down is I need it as low as possible to the ground. Now depending on how high your mushrooms are depends on what setup you want to use. Another nice setup is the platypod with a ball head on it. Place your camera on there, we can stake that into the ground, and that is absolutely solid and ain't going to go anywhere, and you can take your shot. The third option you have for tripods is the most common option, and that is a standard tripod, but you need to have the option to invert your center column, and this tripod from Suri does. So I'm going to do that now. Just unclip that, and then we pop it back in, and then what I can do is just put the camera attached underneath. One of the reasons we like flippy out screens is for doing shots like this. I don't have to kneel down, I ain't got to get in the dirt to get the shot. For the camera, again, I'm using my EOS R with the Laowa 100mm. You can get away with iPhones and stuff like that. You can use any camera for this type of photography, to be honest with you. But for my settings, I'm going to keep my ISO at 100. We have a static object, so we haven't got to chase them around unlike we do in the summer when we're photographing insects. So we get away with a lower ISO and a lower shutter speed. So there's my shot that I'm after. And I'm going for a more wider field of view for this shot. So we do have some tidy up that we want to do. I want to do as least amount of retouching as possible in Photoshop. So we need to get rid of some of these sticks out the way. So we've got one down the side here. Don't like him. Move him out the way. Get rid of that one. There's one in the background we want to get rid of. And a couple of pieces of grass out the way. Okay, so we've got the composition one. We've cleaned it up a little bit. We haven't done too much to it. We're not going to hurt any nature or any animals just moving a few blades of grass around. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't do that, because you can. And we're ready to take the shot. So the first one I want to do is I want to capture the out of focus bokeh areas of the scene. So I'm going to keep my f-stop at 2.8. I'm going to use my touch screen, and I'm going to lower my shutter speed until I'm one stop under exposing. So for this particular scene, that is going to be a 1/50th of a second. I'm going to set my focus to the front part of the mushroom. I'm going to put a 10-second timer on. And with the EOS R, I can trigger my shutter through my touch screen. So I'm going to set that up now, and we're going to take a picture. So now I've captured an overall scene of the out of focus areas. We're going to concentrate on the mushroom. For that, I'm going to switch to an f-stop of 7.1. That is a very sharp f-stop for this lens. I'm going to adjust my shutter speed to I'm one stop under again. So in this particular instance, that's 1/15th of a second. Again, we still have our 10-second timer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and hit critical focus on the front of the mushroom. So what I'm going to do is this focus stack now. I'm going to move the focus plane all the way backwards, maybe about 4 shots, so we get different parts of the mushroom in focus that we can blend in Photoshop later on to create a stack. So I'm going to change the focus now. So we're going to go further back, and without changing any settings, we're just going to take another shot. Once I've done that, we've got about 4 shots of the top of the mushroom. I'm now going to focus on the stem of the mushroom. Again, I'm going to zoom in, hit critical focus, and take a shot. So if you're finding it's a little bit too dark, particularly on the stem, you can get your torch that you are going to be using in a bit anyway, and we can light up our subject, hit critical focus, and then take another shot. That's all the shots we need of the mushroom in the ambient light. Now we need to make them glow with a torch. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat those steps again, except for the out of focus one. We don't need to do that again. So I'm going to reset up my focus to the front of the mushroom. Again, zooming in so we make sure we've got that focus spot on. You're going to grab a torch. I'm going to set it so it's at its brightest, and then we're going to shine it above the mushroom so that it glows through the mushroom, and we can go and composite that as a glowing mushroom. So we're going to keep the shutter speed exactly the same as it is. Remember, we was underexposing by 1 stop. So now we're going to light up the mushroom and take a shot. And of course I need to do this on both mushrooms. Now if you don't have a torch, you could always use your iPhone. I'm finding myself skipping from iPhone to the torch depending on the type of mushroom. And the iPhone gives a little bit of a warmer glow to your mushroom. However, it's not quite as powerful as my torch. The other alternative you have, if you have a wireless flash like the Godox, we can always put the flash on, drop the exposure to a long exposure and take a flash image. I'll show you that now. I'm not even going to set up the wireless transmitter. So I've dropped it to the lowest ISO, which is 50 on this camera. 1 second, F16. And then what we're going to do is once the shutter opens up, I'm going to press the test shot. Okay, and that will fire in some light into our mushroom. There we go, we get some glowing mushrooms. A little bit overexposed, but we can always just drop our flash by a couple of stops. One key element when doing this is to take as many shots as possible, because once you get back to the studio, if you find out you've missed some shots, you're not going to be able to come back and get them, because these mushrooms, they don't last in the wild very long. The second method I want to show you is if your camera supports focus bracketing. Now for this you are going to need an autofocus lens. For this demonstration I'm using the Canon EF 100mm f2.8L macro lens. So my camera doesn't support built-in focus bracketing, but if yours does, check out the manual on how to do it, and you can use that method to get your focus bracketed image of your mushroom. What I want to do is focus on people like me who have a Canon EOS R that Canon neglected to put focus bracketing in. And what we're going to do is download the Canon Connect app. So what we've got here is you can see the settings. Now the image is upside down because my camera is upside down. Again, we're inverting it so we can see underneath the mushroom. And I am at f2.8 and I have focused on the front of the mushroom. So I can just press my shutter to get a shot. No timer necessary because we are not physically touching the camera. So I'm just going to do a few extra shots at f2.8. Again, that is to capture the ambient light and the background bokeh. Okay, and here's the magic ingredient. Okay, so this will allow us to do a better focus stack than we can do manually. There's 2 reasons why the manual one doesn't work brilliantly. Sometimes you can miss some parts of the focus, which results in part of the mushroom being out of focus. The other issue is my Laowa focusing ring is defective. It makes it very hard to do focus stacks. So we can use this method to get the shot we want. So I'm going to go to an f5.6, which I already know on this particular lens is pretty sharp. And I'm going to focus to the front of the mushroom, and I'm going to take 1 picture. And there we go, that's the picture, that's what I'm going to start with. So now if we look at this icon down the bottom right, this is our focusing options. Now, because we are using an autofocus lens, what I can do is click on that button there, which will step back the focusing, and we can take another picture. We're going to press that button again, and we will carry on doing this until we have a focus stack. That's about 4 images. Now, if you've got plenty of time on your hands, what we can do is refocus on the front of the mushroom. And the arrows there, you've got 1 arrow, 2 arrows, and 3 arrows going forward and backwards. That signifies how big of a step it is between your focusing. What I can do is click on the 2 arrows now, and we can get a slower or more steps in between our focusing. So we've done our focus stack of that mushroom. So I'm going to come back, refocus on the front, and I'm going to put my phone on the ground, bring in my torch. We are going to light up and glow our mushroom. You can see there that on this particular mushroom, it's a little bit thinner than the others that we've done, so we are going to have to adjust our shutter. There, I want a nice glow where you can see the texture, so we're at 1/30th of a second now. So I'm going to just light up the mushroom. I'm going to take a shot, and again, we're going to step backwards in the focusing to get our stack. There we go. Now I've taken a lot more images than I need to. Again, I can't stress that enough. The images that we took earlier, I didn't get enough images on some of the example mushrooms, and some parts were out of focus. So you do need to get as many images as possible so that you're not missing any focus points. What we do now is take those shots into Photoshop and stack the non-glowing one and the glowing one together. Save it out as a TIFF. We'll then colorize those in Lightroom. For the non-glowing one, I usually use a blue tint. For the glowing mushroom, I use a warm tint. We take those shots back into Photoshop, we composite them together, add some particle effects to it, and we have our shot. For my Patreon users, I have uploaded a full editing from start to finish on the post-processing of these mushroom shots. I want to thank my Patreon supporters for helping me to bring you this free content. Check out my Patreon in the link in the description for some free goodies. So give it a go, go on out, find some mushrooms and do some glowing mushroom shots. Hit me up on social media, I'd love to see your shots, but that's where I shall leave this video. My name's Stewart Wood, and I'll see you on the next video. Jesus. I'm going to turn on the flash, if I press the right button. I wonder what that was then. Something just hit me. Now for this particular shot, no, I almost stuck the platypod down on my bag with the spike sticking out. You don't want to get doing that. You need to have a tripod that has the option to invert the cut center. So the first shot start against you. Go out, get some magic mushroom. No, fucking hell, magic mushroom's a drug. Like as soon as you come to do the outro, your brain just falls down into your ass and you just can't get nothing done. So I didn't even get a word out. For my Patreon users, I've uploaded, fucking hell man, I sounded like a computer that was stuttering.